of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee, featuring Tennessee Radio Hall of Famer George Plaster, Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame coach Watson Brown, and Young Guns Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It's kind of a cloudy, overcast Tuesday in Nashville. However, the temperature is in the 70s, and that's not all bad as we get into late October. A lot of things happening. I'll tell you up front that we are going to run Mike Vrabel's press conference at 3 o'clock today. This might be an important one in that seems like we've had a little bit of a shift in what the Titans are doing or what they're not doing. And with that in mind, let's get to our daily Titans update, which is brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. Now, normally I'll give you the whole spiel about, USA Mortgage and all that. Going to change it this week. Lori is going to be at the flea market. And that'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And any of you who go by there who have questions, thoughts, whatever, she'd love to talk to you. So make sure and kind of, put that in the old memory bank. Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, joins us. Terry, you listened in on the press conference. I'm having a hard time wrapping the whole thing together that Carthon is maybe saying, hey, we're not good enough to win the division, so we're making trades, as opposed to Vrabel, who I don't think his DNA can buy that or allow that. Tell me what you think.
No, George, I don't think you're wrong in this regard. I think it's a very tough line for Mike Vrabel to walk because he is wired to try and win as many games as humanly possible with this 2023 team. And, you kind of look at how they towed that line in the offseason. A lot of people thought that they would do a rebuild, that they might move on from Ryan Tannehill or move on from Derrick Henry because both were entering the final years of their contract. Instead, they went out, they brought in DeAndre Hopkins, added a couple of pieces here to the defense, tried to fix the offensive line with not a lot of success. And now this is kind of where they are in terms of, they've got one foot on the shore and one foot in the water. And they've got to decide whether they're going to go for a swim or if they're going to go lay on the beach. And, to me, the trading of Kevin Byard says it's time to, jump in with both feet and start the rebuilding process.
Is this maybe the first scenario where Carthon and Vrabel really don't see eye to eye?
Potentially. I mean, I think that, Vrabel talked about how tough this decision was to reach, and how, he, respected Byard as a player and as a person, and, how that this was a business move that they, had to make to acquire extra draft capital for the betterment of the team long term. And he said that, I know we can't have it both ways, by being, having really good players here and, still being able to try and build for the future. So it seems like to me it might be the first step toward admitting that this thing needs to be rebuilt, George. Not unlike how the Predators kind of treaded water for several years, George, before Barry Trotz came back this year and fully embraced a rebuild.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, this is something a lot of franchises get caught in the middle of, believing they can do enough to keep it all intact, but in fact later having to go back and say, who knows? It's a dicey proposition. I remember when the Braves did it in the mid 2010s. They did it cold turkey. I call it the Jace Peterson era, and it was not a pleasant 4 years.
Chris Medlin.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was not. It was not a ton of fun. So, Terry, let me ask you this: what came out of today as far as Sunday and the quarterback situation?
Well, it's interesting because Mike Vrabel didn't rule out Ryan Tannehill, although I don't think any of us believe that he has a realistic shot of suiting up against the Falcons so soon after this ankle injury. He did say that he was off of the little rolling scooter that he's been on to keep weight off the ankle, so that is a step in the right direction. But he said that if Tannehill can't go, it's a good possibility you're going to see both Malik Willis and Will Levis Sunday against the Falcons. Now, that might be just posturing, playing politics on Vrabel's part so that Arthur Smith and the Falcons don't get an early competitive advantage to say we can prepare for Malik Willis or we can prepare for Will Levis. It may be something just to kind of, not tip his hand. But it's interesting that he did say that he's going to give both these guys a look.
Terry, what's the best case scenario in your mind for the Titans down the stretch of this season?
Well, I'm going to stick with what I've been saying. I think that if you're going to embrace this rebuild, you've got to see what you've got in Will Levis after having traded up and, getting into the top of the second round to acquire this guy in the draft last April. I think you have to see what you got in him. You have to give him every chance to be successful, even if there are not a lot of pieces around him. But at the same time, you don't want to run him out there behind this offensive line and get him and shatter his confidence the way you've seen lots of quarterbacks have that done to them with the shell shock of not being protected. Does the name David Carr mean anything to you, George?
David Carr sacked more times than any human being in the history of football.
More sacks than Kroger, apparently. But
wow, that is a lot. So Terry's going to join us for the entire 2:00 hour tomorrow. You can call it what you want, but if you want to go with my silly State of the Union, so be it. The facts of the matter are that we're entering into some new stuff right about now with the trade of Kevin Byard. Terry, thank you as always. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one, George.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She will be at the flea market Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you get a chance, stop by, talk to her. If you've got questions, mortgage-wise, home buying-wise, all that kind of stuff, she would love to talk to you. And now, check out Mr. Fashion Plate himself, Kelly Holcomb.
Look at that.
Well, well, well. To what
Billy?
do we owe this?
Billy, I don't need you to ask what I'm wearing something for. I don't need all that. Okay, George, you know what I'm going for. I've got a deal with the Boys and Girls Club. We're
Right.
gonna interview Michelle here coming up at 3:20, I think, just to give a little bit perspective on it. But I've got a question and answer session with Rob Gronkowski, so I've got to leave immediately after we get off the show, and then I've got to head to the Boys and Girls Club.
So, have you ever met him?
I have not. He was. I had already finished my career when he got drafted by the Patriots, so I have not met him.
So, he may not be aware of exactly what he's walking into.
He may not, and I have. I've talked to you several times about this, but I have never been a moderator, so I'm kind of anxious and interested about what's going to come out of my mouth as well tonight. So it'll be fun. We'll see.
I'm doing one of these Saturday with, in my mind, the greatest catcher of my lifetime, Johnny Bench.
Yeah.
And first of all, I'll say this, just a couple of things that I think people would be interested in. Anything that involves Brady, anything that involves Belichick. If you can get him to talk about those two subjects, it'll get real quiet in the room.
Yeah, but he might not want to talk about those two subjects. We never know. And then I might have to ask. I might have to go on along the lines of, I know that everybody here wants to talk about Tom Brady, but we're more interested in Giselle. Can you give us a little bit of feedback on Giselle?
Exactly. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
so you're already there. Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. So we'll see.
Oh.
I mean, I've always been the guy that's answering the questions, not asking the questions. So
Right.
we'll see.
Giselle.
Giselle.
When last we visited Giselle, where is she now?
No clue. They have gone their separate ways, I assume.
A lot of money has changed hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think they're very pleased with each other. So we'll
No, it didn't appear that way.
no.
Doesn't seem
But
that way, Billy.
Brady is part owner of the Las Vegas Aces, the WNBA team, and they just won a title. So I
Right.
saw, I mean, he just finds championship teams. I don't know. I didn't even know I didn't even know he was part owner of.
I
of
thought
that.
I had found one 3 weeks ago. Not so fast.
You got
Billy,
you got roasted last night too, Big George, didn't you?
What do you
Yeah, he sure did.
What do you mean?
Bet of the day.
God. Oh, you're talking about the 49ers?
You also
Wow.
called the Vikings a what'd you call them? What was the word?
Was it a crap show?
I don't know. You called them something.
Did I call them a dumpster fire?
You called them a
Dumpster fire.
dumpster
Okay, well, I'll
fire.
tell you what. They shoved it up my whatever.
They did. They got a big win
Hey, that
last
was
night.
good for them.
Yeah, big win. Kirk
Good
Cousins.
for them, bad for me.
378 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Addison, 7 catches, 123 yards. But Brock Purdy in the fourth quarter, 2 interceptions. Niners have lost 2 in a row. All of a sudden, it's starting to go sideways a little bit.
So what is it they did?
No, it's
Okay,
like
they
that.
go like that. Okay,
Skull,
like a safety.
Yeah, and they brought out the
Yes.
horn at the beginning.
I saw with Dave Winfield.
Yeah, that was
That's
pretty cool.
very
Yeah.
nice.
A lot of
Yeah.
Niners fans last night. And
No,
I mean,
listen,
the whole place was red.
they're apparently all over. They have apparently populated all of North America.
Well, they don't want to live in San Fran.
Well, that may be. What else?
Saints wide receiver Chris Olave was arrested last night down in Louisiana on suspicion of reckless operation of a motor vehicle. That's what
That's not good.
he was going 70 and a 35.
That's a little.
That'll get you.
Yeah.
Observed traveling at the high rate of speed, recklessly maneuvering between lanes and around others on the roadway. So we'll see if he gets out on the field. I don't think he's played in the last couple of weeks anyway because of an injury. So that's what, Kelly, I know we got running out of time here, but an injury gets a guy off the field. He's, maybe not be practicing as much, maybe not in the weight room as much, and they just sort of get distracted. I feel like an injury almost always leads up to things like these, and it just sort of, it's a downer once you hurt and you're not on the field.
It really does. And the worst is when a guy gets hurt outside the building, but then tries to blame it on the building. You know what I'm saying? I've had that happen before too. So, yeah, when you start acting foolish, man, and things like that just don't work out well. And it seems like I was going to say he was going 120 in a 35 or something like that. It's crazy. But guys, when they get to that spot, man, seem they're above the law, and that's just not correct.
If I were the judge, I would sentence him in a probationary way to Georgia Bulldog driving school.
I thought you were going to be serious there for a second, George, and then you bring it. You come away
I was
with that.
waiting.
Wow.
I was waiting. All right, you talk about not looking good. The Astros.
Don't anybody send me an email about that one.
Please do.
No.
Rangers beat the Astros last night 11-4, and they are headed to their first World Series since 2011. Jordan Montgomery got the win for Texas. Adolis Garcia finished with 15 RBIs in this series. He has been raking the ball.
He has killed it.
And it's funny, last year the Rangers, they went 60-102. They were awful last year. And now they're in the World Series. So all of a sudden the tide has turned. That's how quick it can turn.
Well, they spent a lot of money in free agency. Corey Seager.
And this season at the deadline, too.
Marcus Semien. They go get Verlander. What am I saying? Scherzer. They get Scherzer. They get Jacob deGrom. They have been very aggressive for 2 years now. Good for them.
Similar.
I'm happy for my buddy Chuck Morgan. We're going to have him on soon. He just doesn't know it.
And Bruce Bochy, who Danny seems to like. And I think he predicted this for the Rangers them to, before the playoffs even started.
Nashvilleian and first ballot Hall of Famer, Bruce Bochy.
Nashvilleian?
Yes.
I didn't know that. D-backs Phillies tonight, 7 o'clock. Ranger Suarez on the mound for the Phils. It's
tired of Ranger Suarez.
I feel like he pitches every other night.
He
for the
shoved
Phillies.
it up our you-know-what. God.
And you were talking about how bad, how you thought that we could, that the Braves could jump on him. He tore y'all up.
I did. I didn't know he was Tom Glavine reincarnated. Good Lord.
There's a lot of baseball fans in the South cheering on the D-backs tonight.
It does not look like Ranger Suarez's heart rate gets very high. That's for sure.
Oh, he's a cool customer. He's Glavine Jr.
He's pretty good. So we'll see. That's at 7 tonight. Lastly here, I know we got to get to Tony. Connor Stallions for Michigan. This is the name in the news.
Yeah.
The suspended Michigan staffer. And we could spend a whole segment on this.
And we're going to later.
But, video evidence has come up that is prohibited by the NCAA of them stealing signs. And it's crazy. He apparently he bought tickets in his own name for more than 30 games over the past 3 years at 11 different Big Ten schools. So this doesn't look good, but I don't know if anything actually happens.
Watch this. So. I'm going to look in the camera, and I'm going to tell all of you the truth. Jim Harbaugh is headed to the NFL.
You could be right, because I told my wife yesterday when I saw that on the bottom line at ESPN, I'm like, somebody's trying to get him. Somebody is after Harbaugh
absolutely.
For something.
Yeah,
because he's getting allegation after allegation after allegation. Somebody is trying to get him.
The rumor is Ohio State. And
no.
You don't say.
No, I would be shocked. I thought all along it was Long Island University. Okay. After the break, Tony Basilio will join us. He might be a little nervous today, Game 7 for his Phillies.
Tense times for Tony.
Oh, absolutely. My tension is gone, but there was plenty of it when there was. We'll go to the break. We'll talk with Tony about what went on in the Tennessee-Alabama game, and then who knows? We may get old Kelly Holcomb to tell us, how do you do these signs without Mr. Stallions stealing them? Stay tuned.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Byard Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, it's always good times when we head to Knoxville and have our weekly chat with Tony Basilio, who has the pulse of that city unlike anybody, but he's also a Philadelphia Phillies fan. So, most importantly, Tony, are you nervous about tonight?
Oh, man, Game 7, George, flip a coin. Flip a coin. The Arizona Diamondbacks are a tough baseball team. Very good young team. Well put together. Really impressed.
Yeah, they are. They had a really good start to the season, then went through an awful spell around midsummer and seemed to have righted the ship. So I got very nervous, way more nervous than normal, playing you guys a couple of weeks ago. Tonight, you'll be watching it.
Well, I'll be living and dying with it. I mean, this Craig Kimbrell guy better get nowhere near that game if it's close. He is.
You never know what you're going to get,
you talk
Tony.
about some guys have a clutch gene, and he's not one of them.
And he was kind of that way late in his Braves career, too.
No, let's not say anything bad about Craig Kimbrell. Once a Brave,
No
always
clutch gene.
a Brave.
That's right. And once a Brave, always spotty in the postseason, George. No offense to you guys. No offense intended here.
But just stating the facts, are we? By the way, your team
I think that's what we're doing.
Your team needs a barber.
My team's homely. We've got some homely pitchers. The kid in left field, originally from Atlanta, is a real nice player. I'd love to see his face to see what he looks like. Marsh. He's homely on purpose. Our team needs more than a barber. But you know what? This hasn't been the prettiest series in the world, but man, opportunities like this to see your club play in a World Series don't come around very much. And I just hope the Phillies can seal the deal tonight. I don't know if they can, but boy, I sure do hope they can.
Even though I don't want to root for them, I'm rooting for them for you. So, on to the wars. What was the postgame show like Saturday?
Well, it was about 6.5 hours long. If that means anything to you. Yeah, and yeah, I kind of bathed in it, and boy, what a frustrating game! Just a real missed opportunity for Tennessee. It's one thing if you go down there and you play a team that's much better than you, and this is just not a vintage Nick Saban Alabama football team. This is a eminently beatable Alabama team that Tennessee had on the mat. But, Joe Milton played literally about as well as he's capable of playing.
Yep.
But they just left so many points on the field in the first half. And then they had this weird thing where they really don't have a tremendous amount of confidence in him. And so they're afraid to do what they want to do. And I don't know. It just kind of all caught up with them at the end.
You've had the sort of the narrative that people have given that Nick Saban made great adjustments at halftime and Heupel didn't. Do you buy that?
I don't know. I mean, look, I'll say this for Alabama. One of the key plays in that game that turned the game was the phantom fair catch call on the Vols, which put the ball on the 4-yard line after Alabama scored.
Right.
So we get the benefit of talking it out, looking at film, all that stuff that you don't get when you're doing the post-game show. And so I've got a guy that helps me out named Matt Dixon, who's a real sicko. And I mean that in an endearing way. So he goes back and watches the game, and he notices that the up man on the play, T-Lander, who's going to be a really nice linebacker for the Vols. He's played pretty well so far this year. He says that earlier in the game, T-Lander put his hands up on a kickoff and pointed at a ball that was up in the air. And I think Alabama, now that we've peeled the apple back, you just talk about how they pay attention to everything Saban does.
Yeah.
I think they went over and told the officials, hey, we're getting ready to sky kick this ball. And if he points to it, that should constitute a fair catch. And I think that's exactly what they did. They kicked the ball way up in the air. He pointed to it. They, I think, erroneously interpreted that as a fair catch signal, or kind of caught Tennessee in that as a fair catch signal. George, I've been watching football for forever, so have you. Vanderbilt had it called on them earlier in the year, and Tennessee's had it called on them now. I don't know that I've ever seen it called other than that. I don't know if I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, and the disease has spread to Iowa, where the call in that game was
brutal.
That was downright awful. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is to that, because you're right. It now has happened 3 or 4 times this year where the team on the bad end really gets hurt by it. So, Tony, you have felt, and I've agreed with you on this, that Tennessee, much as the Phillies seem to own my Bravos a little bit, that Tennessee has owned Kentucky in the past. But, boy, this is a tough one. I mean, to get back off the deck against a team that is dying to lay waste to you, this has got some trouble written on it.
It's a Saturday night game. There is no doubt that this is a potentially trouble spot for the Vols if they don't take care of business. Now, they've got to not give that team life early in that game. Watson told me, our guy Watson Brown, and I think he's right. When a head coach goes out in the press and says the things that coach did about his players to the media, or it was really in frustration on a call-in show, a guy had called in and said, hey, you don't beat anybody that matters, to their coach. And he was citing a record back to him, citing his record in, these other games other than, when they play Little Sisters of the Poor.
Right.
And he shot back with, well, if you bought me the players Georgia has, we would be doing those things, which, George, look, that might be true, right? But that's the wrong answer.
Yeah,
His team
I'm
a couple
sure.
days later goes out. Yeah, you don't do that. His team a couple days later went out in Missouri and scored the first 14. Missouri fakes a punt, goes down the field, scores, and then scored to close the game, just blew him right off the field. And it looked like his team just said, you know what, coach, you can kind of have it. It's your world anyway. And I'll be really curious to see what Kentucky team Tennessee gets on Saturday night, because these kids today, it's different than when we were coming up. It just is. They'll check out on you.
Sure, and they have that option to do that now because they've got a transfer portal where, for instance, at practice, if a coach looks at them wrong, they can kind of shoot them the middle finger and say, you know what, take a look at that portal tomorrow because my name will be on it.
Yeah, and the truth is, if you're a guy that can play, like Kentucky's had a couple of wide receivers this year that are really having tough years. But if you have a couple guys that can play, you're always going to have suitors. You're always, even these wide receivers who have had drops this year or trouble with formations, depending on what you want to believe, coming out of the Kentucky camp, but they've just been dreadful offensively. They were supposed to be very good, and they've just been, outside of the Florida game, it's the one game all year it clicked for them, they've been dreadful this year on offense, just brutal.
Kelly, describe your attire to Tony because he needs to.
What does that matter, George? That has nothing to do with anything.
Well, because we've seen you but this is a visual medium, okay? You wear a bunch of junk, for the most part, and now all of a sudden today you're all gussied up.
I mean, I'm not wearing a bunch of junk like you do, like those Knights of the Round Table shirts that you swear up and down.
They
are
polos. Not. They are polos.
I mean, they're 1975 Knights of the Round Table. I mean,
they may be 75 polos, but they are polos.
Well, I've just got a jacket on, Tony. I've got to go do something for the Boys and Girls Club tonight. I'm interviewing Rob Gronkowski with a question and answer session. So I've got to leave directly after we get off here, and I've got to go to the Boys and Girls Club. So I've got a gray, in which it doesn't help my hair because my hair is all gray as well. So I've got a gray jacket on. I've got a black shirt on, and I mean, nothing too over the top. I mean, I understand what George is talking about. He's trying to be funny, but he's not.
Well, you just seem a little too sensitive about it.
No, I'm not sensitive. I'm just saying, like, what does that got to do with me asking questions or with Tony answering? Like, what is
Billy,
that?
Would you like to chime in here before he says you can't talk?
George, you are King Stir.
Well, hey, Kelly, I was picturing you. I haven't heard your accessories yet, because I was picturing you in a thick gold rope around your neck with tonight's festivities. You have a big old chain around your neck. Come on now.
No, I don't have the thick gold. I don't have the thick gold rope like Roethlisberger used to wear after the games. I don't have those.
I used to love those guys when they would wear. It's like, guys, we know you have money. I mean, why don't you just carry a couple $100? Carry like $100 bills around in each hand. We get you have money. You don't have to wear all that bling, but good luck on your deal tonight. Gronk will be a lot of fun. That'll be a lot of fun. I
appreciate it.
Keep that guy in line. Good luck to you.
Yeah, I hope so. I was telling George today they put us in the round, so I feel like when I went to look at the deal today, I mean they stacked more tables in there when everybody can go around it. And I felt like I was going to a Garth Brooks concert, and I asked the lady, I said, "Are we going to have any stools up there?" And she's like, "No, y'all are going to have to walk around so you can see everybody." And I'm about to tell everybody, I just turned 50. I didn't drink enough water for this. I mean, good gracious, can we get a seat?
Be hydrated.
So you're going to be in the round. So you're going to be going around and around while you're talking. Whoa, boy. Oh, better you than me.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know about that, man. How was the so you said you stayed on the air for 6.5 hours. What was the pulse of the Vol community the other night after the game?
A lot of pain, a lot of anger, but really I think the biggest emotion is disappointment, because you had an opportunity there to give Alabama their second loss at home. You had an opportunity to beat them for the second straight time. You had an opportunity to move into the upper echelon in the league. And the truth is, on the field, Tennessee and Alabama don't look like they're that far apart. And I think it's really due more to what Alabama doesn't have than what Tennessee does. And it's just that kind of year in the league. I told you guys last week, it looked like Alabama, it looks like Saban is going to take a 9-3 football team to an 11-1 season. And it looks like they're on track to do that. Now, they've got LSU next week there, which will be a real handful. But I wouldn't bet against Saban in that spot, even though LSU probably is a better team.
Yeah, I think so too. That's going to be a tough game for Alabama. So I heard you talking about, and I thought that Alabama made some adjustments. I wasn't in the meeting. I don't know exactly what they did, but it just seemed like in the beginning of the game, they got Joe Milton comfortable. They were laying off the receivers. They were letting them have free releases. And in the second half, it seems like they kind of tightened that up. So what did UT do any differently in the second half?
One thing that they did is in money time, they only ran Joe Milton once in the third quarter in that. And really, that's when the game changed. Now, a lot of that was dependent on the fact that where Tennessee started drives from. I was talking about the drive after Alabama scored, and they played that card where they knew that kid was going to point up in the air at the ball. And Tennessee made the mistake on special teams. But I think at the end of the day, I think Tennessee will look back at that game and go, man, what a missed opportunity. Because Joe Milton, for all of his limitations, and he does have limitations, everybody has limitations, but for all his limitations, gave them about as good a first half as he possibly could. And he was running. And look, he's not the most natural runner in the world, but he was really in the game as a runner. He was a lot more outgoing, ebullient, a lot more engaged in the football game than we've seen him. Because generally he's pretty laid back and passive, Joe. But I think it led to him being better in the game, and they made some big plays down the field in their passing game. Bama just overwhelmed them in the second half. And to me, we've had a lot of discussion about this on the show. I think that the big key play was when Tennessee went forward at midfield instead of punting and playing defense. They gave Alabama a short field. Alabama took that lead, and the game was over. That was that once that occurred.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to ask you. What about what did you think about? They had 2 fourth down calls that they got stopped on both of them. Am I not mistaken by that?
Yeah, and they're both just really dumb, because when you snap a ball to Joe Milton in a shotgun, and you don't have something called, something exotic, something different, and you're counting on him to. It's one thing to call a run on 1st and 10 when you got everybody spread out. It's another thing. Tennessee's problem is they do this bunch formation when they bring all their receivers in. Everybody comes in tight to the line, which advertises this is what we're going to do. And then you run right between the tackles. Joe Milton is not the guy to do that with. He's never going to get the first down. Like I had people telling me on our Guards for Law postgame show, they were saying, well, listen, Josh Heupel's gambling. I said, no. Running that play is not gambling. Running that play is akin to going down to your local convenience store and picking up a lottery ticket that's already scratched off and you know is a loser, and then walking out and paying $5 for it. That's not gambling. That's throwing your money away. And that's what Tennessee did the other day. Look, people can say, well, you go for it, that's who you are. You can't go for it and call that play. That's like giving a score away rather than, hey, you know what? I still have a lead. It's a slight lead. I'm going to punt the ball back to you. I'm going to force you with my great special teams to operate from inside your 5-yard line, because that's probably what Tennessee would have done, pinned them down somewhere deep like they did with A&M. And I'm going to see if we can dial up a pass rush and see if we can't either get 2 points or get a turnover there, or because look, this Milrow guy, they let him up. This guy's a ball holder, Kelly. He's a ball holder, and he did it earlier. But they let him get comfortable in the second half. They let Alabama get comfortable in the second half, and you can't give them the ball midfield there. And look, I love Josh Heupel, but you cannot coach those games, those Alabama games, those games with Georgia. You can't, when you have Joe Milton as your quarterback, you can't coach those games like you have Hendon Hooker as your quarterback. It's just not going to work. Look, you can do that with Kentucky and get away with it. But in these signature bigger games, I hope he learns from it, or I hope he has a quarterback that's good enough in the future to overcome that type of decision making. Because unfortunately for him, Joe Milton's just not good enough to spot those points to. He's just not.
This will be my last deal, and I kind of gave it to George and Billy yesterday about, it just seemed like in that game, Alabama has got a tradition, and Nick Saban has brought that to those guys where it doesn't matter where they are in the game, they just believe they're going to win. And it kind of seemed like that happened the other day, and it seems like Tennessee is trying to get there where, back in the day they used to be like that, but they've been through, a decade or 2 decades where they've been kind of so-so, and then they don't really have not eclipsed that, have gone into the middle framework of, hey, we're going to win this game no matter what happens. And I want to see what you think about this. Like, Nick Saban always harps about, it's an emotional game, but you can't play it emotional. And it seemed like the other day in that game, when things started going bad, there started to be a lot of chirping from the UT guys. Did you see that?
Chirping in what way?
Just chirping, just talking, just trying to, start things with guys. And I don't think you can, I think Nick Saban has done such a good job with his football team about not getting into those situations, about chirping. Just go ahead. Hey, they beat us on that play, go to the next play. And then, it just seemed like the other day that some of the UT guys got a little bit emotional in that game.
Tennessee's guys on defense do talk. It's kind of part of their personality, whether it's good or bad. I'm with you. It's kind of not, I don't think, conducive to the task at hand, but it's sort of their personality. I look at this deal Saturday again as just a real missed opportunity, and I think Tennessee does too. Man, they just had that Alabama team. Kelly is just not an Alabama team of Nick Saban's general vintage, but they did, to your point, when it was winning time, they made every winning play in that game. They just did. You got to tip your cap to that. They made every big play. They made every winning play. They made every defensive play. And I really think at the end of the day, if you go back and look at it, the turnover on Milton led to a scoop and score that's 7. The decision at midfield to give him a touchdown is 7 more. That's basically, those 2 teams look pretty even other than that. And those are 2 mistakes for Tennessee you're just not going to overcome in that spot. You're just not good enough defensively, and you're not good enough offensively to overcome something like that.
If Saban gets this team to 11-1, as great a coach as he has been, this may be the best one-year job he's ever done. This doesn't have an 11-1 feel to it. If he pulls this off, man, more power to him.
I agree with that, George. I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's scary what he's getting done with this bunch. So you've got Kentucky late night in Lexington Saturday. For people who want to hear your commentary afterwards, how do they do it?
Yes, we fire that thing up over at tclub.team. And I think we're going to have a celebration into the wee small hours of the morning. And I really do believe that Tennessee will emerge victorious in this game. I just think that Kentucky bunch has too many issues and too many problems. And, if it's not for that Vandy transfer, I don't know what they have on offense. Now you guys know he's a nice player.
Yeah.
But the truth is, their wide receivers, and this has happened to Tennessee, when your passing game goes limp, all of a sudden the few chances that get squeezed towards those receivers, they start dropping balls. Everybody starts pressing a little bit, and that's Kentucky's passing game. And then on the other side of things, they haven't been able to get any pressure on opposing quarterbacks. And if they let Joe Milton stand back there and throw the ball, he will make and hit some big pass plays this weekend because you can't give anybody time. And I think he's going to have one of his better games of the year this weekend. That's my prediction. And also, if I were Tennessee, I would start playing this freshman, Nico. I would start playing him a series a game, maybe a series or two per game down the stretch, maybe save the Georgia game. But against everybody else, I'd play him a series or two and start looking ahead with him to 2024.
Excellent point. Tony, good luck tonight. I'm going to be rooting for you.
tclub.team is where you find me. And, yeah, my Phillies, geez Louise, guys. I've got a stress headache this big, as they used to say in the old commercial.
Oh, I know the feeling. I know the feeling.
See you guys.
Talk to you next week.
George.
See you, Tony.
Bye now. Have a great one.
That city will be hopping tonight. Sunday night, they got the Dolphins. Tonight, and I think Philly is going to win. That city will go bananas. Absolutely bananas. And they should. We'll go to the break, and then we'll talk about this Michigan sign-stealing stuff and find out what that really means to a quarterback who has gone past fifth grade gray Y. Kelly, that would be you. Stay tuned.
Thank you,
We're coming
George.
back.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's awesome.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you. Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, what I'm about to throw out there is opinion and not provable fact. Okay? Kelly, if what we are reading and seeing is true out of Michigan, how in the world did Harbaugh not know?
Yeah. But you know what's going on as a head coach, or you're getting the intel from it and you're trying to turn your head. I don't know. We've talked about it with the Northwestern stuff about a coach. The coach has got to know what's going on in his program. You might not know every little detail, and he might not have known. I don't know, but it just seems like somebody's trying to get him. But when you're talking about stealing signs, I mean, when I was in the NFL, everybody tries to do it. I mean, we tried to do it. Like if you can get some intelligence on what they're running, I mean, I can remember one, and it only happened one time. I was with I forget. I think I was with the Minnesota Vikings. It was my last year, and we were playing the Chicago Bears, and we got a signal from them, and we were able to relay it to the coach. And then he was able to get into a play where we took advantage of it, and Adrian Peterson went for about 80 because we caught him in a blitz. So that doesn't happen very often, and it's not as easy as people like. It's easier for a defensive coordinator than it is for an offensive coordinator. I will say this, because if you can get intel on the offensive side and try to understand what they're running, like are they running a gap scheme? And it happened to me in high school. Not going to say the team, but I was always, when you're coaching, you're always kind of leery of other coaches getting your signs, leery of all that. You get a little hypochondriac in you. You know what I'm saying? You get a little like they're doing something, a little paranoid. Yeah, paranoid, and you just worry about that stuff all the time. And those guys are like, "You're paranoid about all that." And I'm like, "I know what's happening." Well, I found out. I watched the film, and I saw we had a freeze play where you just froze, and you try to get up there and see what they were going to be in, and then you try to call the perfect play. Well, we called a gap scheme play, and I saw because our camera was watching, and they had their defensive coordinator on the sideline, and right when we froze, he looked over to our sideline. He got the signal, and then he changed his old defense, and he went to a 3-3 stack, which it's hard to get to the middle linebacker on 3-3 stacks when you're running a gap scheme. That's the whole deal. They protect the middle linebacker, and they make the play. And that's what happened. Now, it's easier for, like I said, it's easier for defense and offense. I don't know how you do it on offense. Now, what takes that away is having something in the helmet. I mean, when I've got a radio in the helmet and they're telling me to play, you can't steal that.
Right, which is what is ultimately this is going to lead to that on the college level.
Probably,
and
yes.
The schools on the Power 5 level, they have the money to do this.
Correct. Yes.
Whether Akron or Toledo have that kind of money, I don't know. Right. But Kelly, let me ask this question. What you're talking about is like baseball sign stealing.
Yeah.
I had a friend on the minor league level who was as good at it as anybody I've ever seen, and he showed me some tricks of things he would look for. That's different than having a camera in center field do it for you, which is what Michigan is being accused of right now.
Right.
And there's more and more film footage and evidence coming almost daily that makes you think, okay, where there is all this smoke, there is fire. And I guess deep down, even though I would like to believe otherwise, I believe Harbaugh knew. I don't think there's any way he couldn't know.
Well, no, I'm not going to say that. I was a former teammate at Jim, so I don't know. I just know that when I was at middle, we had a quarterback that transferred. He went through training camp with us, and he transferred to Western Kentucky, which is where Jim's daddy was.
Right.
And then during the game, the first half, we literally could not do anything. And we found out that the kid that transferred from Western, they had him up in the box, and he had bifocal, he had binoculars up there, and he was watching what was going on, and he was telling those. And then Coach Donnelly had some choice words after the game, as you can imagine for old Jack Harbaugh. So it's just it's not as easy as they portray it to be. But if you're filming somebody, you can absolutely get some intel on that, and you can absolutely use that to the. And I would never do that stuff. But back in the day, they used to have people that would go up in trees and try to watch practice from the other school that they're playing. I mean, there was so much stuff going on. And I can remember my high school coach, Coach Meadows, he never did have a game plan on script. He had it in his head. And he was always like, I'd never tell anybody what I got or what I'm running. And, hey, that's how he went about it.
He might have been the smart one.
Smart one, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Hour number one pretty much in the books. We'll come back with stat of the day, where we have gotten better. It's about damn time. And you will hear quite a bit of Mike Vrabel's press conference earlier in the morning. I'm doing that for a reason. Number one, I think he gets into some fairly important stuff. And secondly, your ability to hear it come out of his mouth gives you a lot better idea than just reading the quote from somewhere. Stay tuned.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday. So who said I can't be a golfer? Well, you know what? This is X Golf, located just down the road from the Fordyce Center in Bellevue. This is fun. It'll improve your golf game, and you need to stop in and check it out. 8138 Sawyer Brown Road, and who knows, I may get to 200 before it's all over.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. It has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Tennessee Tuesday. We've got Game 7 tonight, Phillies and D-backs. It's going to be a big one. Got some college football as well. But first, stat of the day brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards in Shelbyville. You can find them at 204 East Depot Street. They're open during the week Tuesday through Friday from noon to 5 and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, let's see what Matthew's got cooked up today. We're going baseball. Last night, the D-backs forced a Game 7 against the Phillies. When was the last time both league championship series had a Game 7 in the same postseason?
Woo! Kelly, I get the feeling I'm on my own.
Well, you know what? This is really funny because I was watching one of the games the other night, and they were last night, and they were talking about it, and I can't remember it. That's not the first time, is it?
Oh, Lord, no.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Let me think back. Gosh. Okay, let me ask for one hint. Is it pretty recent?
Yes.
I don't think so. Oh, it is. Okay.
Oh,
It's pretty recent.
Okay, hold on here. Braves Dodgers went 7 the year the Dodgers beat them. And I can't remember. Houston played somebody, Boston. I don't remember. Kelly, I think it's in COVID around 2020.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Braves Dodgers went 7. Houston, I don't know. This is a very poor attempt on the air. Let's hear it.
You're right, George. It's 2020.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, George.
Wow.
How about it?
Kelly, what I remember, the Braves-Dodgers series, remember, this was during COVID. And they had just started letting some people in. The Braves-Dodgers series took place in Arlington. And there were about 12,000 people at one of those games. And an intern of mine drove to Arlington. Big Braves fan, decided to drive down there and got in.
That was a weird playoff year. Of course, it was COVID, but
yeah,
Arlington had, what was it, half capacity?
Oh, it was less. It's about 12,000.
I thought they were the one that had close to.
Oh, I mean, they can hold. It can hold in the low 40s. What I remember in that series for the Braves was that Bryce Wilson, who never got anybody out either before or after as a Brave, threw 6 shutout innings in a game against the Dodgers. And I'm like, where the hell did that come from? So
he couldn't get anybody out, George?
He didn't get anybody out. And now is toiling in the minor leagues somewhere.
It's awful harsh.
Yeah, it is a little harsh. Okay, are we ready to hear from Coach Vrabel?
We are.
I'm guessing. I have not seen the tape or heard any of it, but I've got a feeling this was a little awkward. Terry is telling me the players were not thrilled with the move to trade Kevin Byard. real leader in the locker room, the whole 9 yards. Let's hear from Vrabel and hear where he takes it.
Just want to thank Kevin, his family. I think the personal relationship that I have with Kevin goes well beyond football. We know that there's a business side of this, and sometimes you have to make tough decisions. It certainly was one of them. Rand and I are trying to continue to grow the team and continue to do what we think is going to be best now and in the long run to add to our roster, to strengthen our roster. And this was an opportunity to do that. Again, just can't thank Kevin enough for the personal relationship and what he's meant to this organization on the field, off the field. These things are never easy, but hopefully, if you handle them with class and integrity and respect and honesty, hopefully it works out for everybody. So. We have a great opportunity coming off a bye, to win a game at home, and that's what we're prepared to do. That's what we're absolutely going to do. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
What was the timeline on the Byard? Was it something that kind of came
Kayla,
about?
those, all these things that we do and these transactions, things are going to remain in-house. Took some calls and. That's how things transpire, and you continue to talk and finally able to get a deal done. That's what we did.
You mentioned strengthening the roster, Mike. Obviously, this weakens your roster for this season. So
yeah, you can't have it both ways, Joe. You can't. Trying to ultimately do what we think is in the best interest of the football team, and nobody. Not one person is going to replace Kevin. We know that. Excited to add Terrell. Excited to take a look at, Elijah and some of the pieces that we have there. But no, we're not going to sit there and think that we're going to replace Kevin Byard today when we go down there. It's nobody's intention. So, we made a decision in which we felt like it'll be, clearly second guess. That's why you have a job. That's why, all you guys are here. And so these things aren't easy. And we're trying to look at what draft capital we have and try to come up with a solution for it.
With the season obviously not being over.
Why are you guys all yelling today?
With the season obviously not being over and you guys still in the run, you trade a captain away. How do you go back to that locker room and tell those guys that, winning is still the ultimate goal
Because
now?
we have a job to do. And I understand that there's, I have a job. Everybody else has a job. We need to do that. It's what we've always done. We'll compete. They have, I'm sure everybody has their own personal feelings on it, just like I do. Ask that they, whether they agree with it or disagree with it, ask that they respect it, because that's how we've done things here. And again, when you make a bunch of connections with them and the players, sometimes it's it just it goes. There's a business side of it and there's a personal side of it.
How do you feel that void? How do you feel that void from the locker room perspective and the leadership that Kevin brought to this team?
Want to be guys that step up, and again, Kevin was a captain here. That's clear as communication, and but guys will step up and pick up whatever void was there, and keep moving along.
Does that signal you're open for business?
Well, I think that Rand and I will always look at opportunities to strengthen the roster and the growth of it and the ability to add pieces or draft capital or whatever. I think everybody will always listen to anything that someone might have to say. I don't know if there's anything imminent. I'm just, a lot of people talk at this time of the year and before the draft and before the trade deadline.
Could the outcome of this next game might have a bearing on that?
No, I don't think so. I mean, not in my mind. I think we're going to try like hell to go and prepare and win the football game. And, whatever else may happen, I don't think would have a bearing.
How much did the first 6 games have a bearing on the decision?
It didn't, not in my mind. So focused on the Falcons, and that's where we need to go.
Mike, since we won't get to talk to him, how did KB take it?
I'm not going to speak for KB. He's a first-class individual. Had an unbelievable conversation with it. Clearly was, for me, just anxious to have that phone call, and, I talked to him again this morning. So I'll let him handle that.
So if you're 5-1 and Byard has 3 picks,
I mean, it's just a hypothetical situation. I'm going to take this as the last question I'm going to say, and then we're going to focus on the Falcons. I'm thank KB as many times as I possibly can. We have to get back after this bye. We got to come out here with some juice. This is, KB will tell you this is professional football, and we have a job as players and coaches and to prepare and to get ready. And that's what we have to do.
You just said the record didn't have a bearing on the move. So
so I wasn't talking in a hypothetical situation. We're not 5-1. We're 2-4. So, we got to find a way to win a game. That's what it is.
So what does the quarterback situation look like now?
Well, Ryan won't practice today, and we'll see where he is at the end of the week. And I would imagine that if Ryan can't play, I think I would anticipate both of those quarterbacks playing in the football game. But Ryan, is off of his roller or walker or whatever he had, and we'll see where he is at the end of the week.
So both of them, Mike, you said you'd anticipate both of them. You'd have a plan for both of them to play?
I said I'd anticipate both of them to play. Yep. Make sure you got that, Joe.
Like, as somebody who played this game, putting yourself kind of in those shoes, how does the team view the move that was made yesterday as not kind of admitting from the front office that they're giving up on the season?
Well, we'll never give up on anything. We're going to prepare with the roster and the guys that we have on the active roster, and the guys on the practice squad. We'll ask them to prepare as starters. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for the team. I'm going to try to coach them and try to get them ready to go.
You mentioned leadership. How confident are you that you have the quality leadership in the locker room that you need going forward?
I'm confident that we have the leadership in the locker room going forward. We had 6 captains voted and other guys received votes, and really at this point in time, anybody that comes to work with a great attitude, willingness to improve, and the ability to play extremely hard would have an opportunity to be a leader.
You mentioned both quarterbacks can play. We'll go into a decision on which guy will start.
See what the game plan looks like. First of all, see where Ryan's at, and then talk about what we may want to do throughout the course of the game.
What's the benefit of both guys, Mike? Are you trying just to get a look at both, or do you see benefit in playing both?
Yeah, I don't. Until we know Ryan's availability, I'm just telling you if Ryan can't play, I'd expect both of them to play.
When you say that you guys need to avoid drop back passing, isn't there a necessity for an element of drop back passing in the NFL in 2023? And is that an indictment of how you've built protection?
No, it's not again, just a true drop back game. I think that outside of 2-minute and third down, I think you probably be surprised at the actual numbers that are there in a 7-step drop, full field progression, 3-level route, 15-yard in cut on the backside. Like maybe I'm mistaken, but I guess that's what I meant. You're going to have to throw the football, right? But just making sure that there are favorable ways to do it, and we have to be able to do that.
Still room for 5-step in there?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's quick game, it's play action, empty, screens, keepers, like those are all part of, the first and second down plan. And then, being able to mix in, drop back and seeing how, you can hold up.
How about the left tackle situation? You've had time to think about it. You got Petit Ferrer, you got Andre Dillard. What's that going to look like going forward?
Yeah, Nick will be out there today with the ones, and Dre needs to prepare as a starter and be ready to play both sides. And when he gets another opportunity, take advantage of it.
Is there a chance that you look at
Traylon's doing okay? Yeah.
He coming along, and how optimistic are you about him?
He practiced full last week.
Yeah, was to Skoronski potential?
Right now, Pete's going to play left guard.
How much of that decision was how much you liked the way you ran the football when Nick was in there the last game?
I think that's part of it. I think it's just giving Nick an opportunity. I think he took advantage of the sample size that he had there at the second half of the Ravens game. So he earned some more opportunities.
Okay, that's a little bit of what went on in Mike Vrabel's press conference. What we're going to do is go to the break. Michelle Clifford is going to join us for a couple, 3-4 minutes to talk about the event tonight that Kelly is emceeing with Rob Gronkowski. And then, Kelly, you and I are going to talk through what I thought was a more interesting than normal press conference, a lot of which I agreed with, and then one piece which I'm calling BS.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Byard Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
Year number 2 of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night was awesome. And the reason is really simple. I chose Strike and Spare, and they were amazing. They have great food, great bowling, and a staff that is truly ready to go the extra mile to help you. They have 5 family fun centers in the area to choose from, and for more info, go to strikeandspare.com or call them at 615-824-5685. The George Plaster Show is Nashville's best sports talk, 2 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. There's a podcast version available on Spotify and Apple Podcast.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen printed t-shirts, laser engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hardworking team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Okay, we're back. The event tonight in Murfreesboro benefits the Boys and Girls Club, and that has always been a very strong organization up in the Rutherford County area. Kelly Holcomb will essentially MC and sort of be the interviewer in a talk with Rob Gronkowski. I can't say it all of a sudden. Rob Gronkowski, the great tight end, formerly of the New England Patriots and most recently before he retired as a Super Bowl winner with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Michelle Clifford, I'm hoping, is going to be able to join us.
I'm gonna try calling her, George.
Okay.
Her camera is actually not working, so I'm gonna
Got you.
I'm gonna get her on by phone.
So Kelly, what can you tell us about tonight?
So I'm giving him her phone number.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not the MC, that's for sure.
You're the interviewer.
I'm just the interviewer. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Well,
I am the interviewer. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I've never done, like I said, I've never been a moderator before. I've always been the one answering the questions, so I'm kind of excited about it. Hopefully, I'll have some reasonable questions. I don't want to get too crazy because you never know what I'm going to say. You found that out over the last 6 months, so I'm looking forward to it. But it's a great cause. I went to the last one I went to was Terry Bradshaw, and Terry Bradshaw did a really good job. Terry is as wild as he portrays himself on TV. He got to talking about chicken eggs. He got to talking about all that. It was wild, but he was really good.
He went off the reservation.
He did go off the reservation a little bit, but just like Tom Moore said about Gronkowski and Tom Moore said about Terry Bradshaw back in the day, he's like, that boy right there loves life. And you can tell that Terry Bradshaw loves life. He does. He is full of excitement. He is a bundle of energy. It was a far cry from when he first came to the National Football League, being at Louisiana Tech. Didn't know how to take, because he was a country boy, really didn't know how to take the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania folks. And I think he held a grudge for a while about that. But he is flamboyant, and he was fun to listen to. There's no doubt.
So on Gronk, we know fun-loving, much as that picture kind of shows. Is there, to your knowledge, is there a serious side of him?
I would say that there is, George. I think that there is, and I saw he's got some crazy SAT score, George. That's way above my knowledge. You see him as flamboyant, like do anything guy, but I think there's probably a serious side that we may find out about tonight. I don't know, but you always see him out. He was part of WrestleMania with Andre the Giant back years ago. He's been part of the Masked Singer. He's done music videos, so it's a cool thing.
Okay, I'm told Michelle can hear us, and I guess we'll talk, but we're not able to see her. Michelle, thank you for being with us. How are you?
Hi, guys. I'm good. How are you?
Beautiful. You're coming in loud and clear. So you got a big crowd coming tonight, don't you?
We do. We have a huge crowd of wonderful supporters from Rutherford County coming to our event tonight to support the youth and support our club, and we are so excited.
Michelle, normally I would ask the question, can somebody just show up tonight if this is the first time they hear about the event? Kelly's telling me y'all are sold out, aren't you?
We are. Yes, sir. We sold out a few weeks ago, so it is completely packed. A lot of people are excited about coming to support the kids and see Gronk tonight.
What a nice problem. How did you all get Gronk?
So we have a series of people that we work with and agents that we work with to secure our speakers for the event.
Good for you, because this is a total home run. I mean, obviously, selling out as early as you did indicates that. And so all I'm going to leave you with is, listen, knock them dead tonight. Make sure that Kelly's behaving. And if you can do that, this is going to be a heck of an event.
Oh, I know. It's going to be so fun. Gronk and Kelly, it's going to be hilarious. Everyone is in for a good time and to support a good cause. We are so excited.
Well, you should be. This is awesome what you're doing. Good luck tonight, and thank you for taking the time to come on with us.
Thanks, y'all.
Michelle Clifford, she's one of the organizers of this big event tonight. And Kelly, is it on the MTSU campus?
Yeah, it's at the Student Union at the MTSU campus. You can go down Rutherford and come in the back way. It's right there. It's right above the bookstore. They've got a big ballroom. I was there earlier. They've got a lot of tables. And like I said, she put us in the round. And she just texted me earlier and said that she's got a chair for me. I don't know if she's going to have a chair for Gronk, but I think she's got one for me, which is good. I don't have to stand the whole time. Awesome.
Give her turn in the AARP card, you get a chair.
Sure.
Okay, so let's go back to what we heard a few minutes ago. And this is one of the few times that I think Mike Vrabel got caught a little flat-footed.
He did.
When he was asked, did the record have anything to do with the trade? And I believe his answer was no. That's bull. Because if it's the truth and record had nothing to do with it, then this was about Rand Carthon and Kevin Byard and the continuation of a feud, and I don't believe that's what did this.
Yeah, I'm going to go at it this way, George. I don't know. We don't know. We're not in there, and I completely believe that you think that it's bull, and I may think it's bull too, but you kind of have to play the politics about it a little bit. But I will say this. We talked about running backs earlier in the year. The safeties are not – Kevin wanted more money. And he got a really good contract, but I think he thought he was worth a little bit more than he got. And you just don't pay safeties anymore. They're just
right.
They pay corners, they pay defensive ends, they pay quarterbacks, and they pay left tackles. The rest of them, you got to fend for yourself. And I can see that. The Philadelphia Eagles are pretty smart. I mean, you look at their roster and you look at what their GM's doing. I mean, he's drafted a lot of guys that have worked out. I mean, he's got a really good track record, and he's got a coach that came from the Titans. And even the coach for the Titans talked about Kevin Byard was the one that recommended Reed Blankenship, another middle guy. So you can obviously see that Kevin Byard and Nick Sirianni had a relationship together. And he was willing to talk to him and tell him about Reed Blankenship. So that might have been just a feeler out there to see if they can, kind of upgrade their safety position. Obviously, they didn't like the Edmonds kid, and they thought Kevin Byard was a better player. And just to see if the Tennessee Titans were willing to do it because they were kind of void of their draft picks. So that's going to give them 2 new draft picks in the 5th and 6th round. I know they're a little later, but still – it's draft picks, and I think that's kind of what they're looking for in the next year's draft. So I don't know, George. It'll be interesting to see if they have another big trade, and then if they have another big trade, maybe they are in the selling mode. We'll see.
If this is the only deal that they make, what does that tell you?
I don't know. I just think that they found value with Kevin Byard. They could get some draft picks, and they probably look at the Edmonds kid and saying, well, he may not be Kevin Byard, but he's a safety and we can make him work. So I kind of think that's where they're at. I think they're trying to stack up draft picks like teams do every year to try to better themselves. And he even said it, like, if it's going to make the team better, then we had to do it. I can't worry about what's going on in the locker room. I just got to coach those guys. And I don't know. That's a tough deal to swallow right there, because you have to know what's going on in your locker room.
Okay.
Why do they keep sending Mike Vrabel out to the Wolves? I mean, why doesn't a general manager or someone else from the franchise ever come up and answer any of these questions?
On this one today?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's the middle of the season, but this is a huge trade. Why there hasn't been any statement from?
Well, you raise a really good point, because it seems to me that from a trade standpoint, that it should have been Rand Carthon, basically with okay, get all your trade stuff out to Rand Carthon.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, I don't disagree with you on that.
And they did it. They've done this before, and maybe they think Vrabel is the best fit to answer these, because he won't shy away from these reporters, because Titans media is pretty. I mean, it's not easy going up against them, but I mean, is Carthon that fit to speak? I don't understand that.
I think he's absolutely fit to speak. But you've raised a really good point.
That is a good point.
So, Kelly, let's go to the locker room for a second. It happens way more in baseball, where a team has to make a decision. Are we really a contender or are we not? Are we all in? Are we halfway in? Are we not a divisional winner, so it's a crapshoot? What are we? And at times, when a team makes a controversial move, the manager loses the locker room, no matter how hard he might try. So, I worry about that, because this is pretty early in the going for this to start happening. Now, let me say this. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth, because it was me 2 weeks ago who said, let's cut the crap. This is a 7-10 football team. This is not a 10-7. They're not going to the playoffs. They're not at Jacksonville's level. And I truly believe that. But those players have to believe it. Otherwise, what's the point?
Told you this before, George. My agent told me this a long time ago. Players always know. They always know what's going on. They always know when a head coach is phony. They always know what's happening. They always know they can read between the lines. And when you let a guy like Kevin Byard, who means so much to this community, he played at middle. He's a leader in that locker room. He's been there for a long time. When you let a guy like that go, it's certainly got to raise some questions with guys saying, what are we doing here? I mean, are we just going to have an all-out sale where, they don't think we can win any games? We're already struggling. We're 2-4 right now. Our quarterback's injured. We're having trouble running the ball. We can't do it alone on defense. So that starts to raise questions, George. And I've seen it. I've been there. I've seen a coach lose a locker room, and it happens a lot, and it's very easy when it starts happening to lose the locker room. And I hope that doesn't happen. I don't know if it will. I don't know if it has. There's a lot of validity in what Mike Vrabel says, because he played the game. He understands players. He understands the locker room. But it starts raising some eyebrows when you make a decision like that, get rid of one of the more beloved guys on your team.
See if you buy this. I think his ability to be real is one of his biggest strengths with his players. I think that's part of the reason that his players have always played hard for him. Now, I'm guessing here. I don't have any proof of this. My guess is that at some point, he probably held some sort of a meeting today with the team, whether it was after the media or before the media, to say, hey, I know what y'all are thinking. I'm not stupid. If I were a player, I'd be thinking the same things you are. But let me explain our side of it and why we're doing it. You think he did that?
Well, the only thing that I don't know if he did that is because today is the off day for the NFL, and I don't know how they work the off day for the NFL. Like if he did that, he would have to have guys, he would have to have position coaches call, or he would have to send out a text saying, "Hey, we're having a team meeting."
Okay, or
maybe,
tomorrow when they come back.
tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow when they come back. Yes, he will address that. He may have addressed it today. I don't know. I mean, I had that situation one time where it was on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And all craziness was going on. We got a text. We're meeting today at 1:00. Everybody be there. So I don't know how they handle their Tuesday. You know, some people say it's a voluntary day, but there's some coaches that say, yeah, it's voluntary, but you better have your butt here. So that's just the way that works. But tomorrow, yes, he will he will sit everybody down and say, hey, we understand what happened. Kevin Byard's gone. He's a Philadelphia Eagle now. We've got a new guy. He'll introduce Terrell Edmonds to the team. He'll say, hey, this is professional football. It's professional sports. We love Kevin. We had to make a deal that we could not hesitate on. We had to make it, and we just got to be big boys about it. We got a job to do. We got to go to practice today and get the game plan and go about our business for this week.
Okay, here's excuse me.
You get a hairball, big dog?
Yeah, I don't know what I got. That wasn't really great TV, but Kelly, see if you buy this. One of the things that is hurting the Titans right now with the public's not totally stupid. They see over the last 5 years that this team hasn't drafted for squad. They just haven't. I mean, we've pointed out all the misses in the first and the second round. But the fact of it is they haven't exactly been God's gift to drafting in the 5th and the 6th round.
Right.
And so there's a little bit of, oh, great, you got the draft picks, but you're going to screw it up because you always do. And that's not fair to Rand Carthon, who's just walking into this situation. But it is part of what the public feels is, so what if they got a 5th and a 6th? They never convert them into anything that's worth a damn.
I can understand the frustration. I was on a team that came from college, and they thought they could just put any and everybody in there. They thought they could draft guys, and that's the problem sometimes I have with the NFL. If you're not doing it in college, well, these NFL guys say, man, he's so special, I can coach him. Well, he just showed you for 3 or 4 years that he can't play. So I'm with you, George. I understand that. I totally get it. I think you got to give Rand Carthon another. I mean, he was at a He was at a place in San Francisco where they did a really good job of drafting people, and you can see now they're not playing right. They're not playing real well, as we're going to see in our next little clip here. That they're not. San Francisco's not playing good. But that defensive line, Nick Bosa, the Fred Warner guy. I mean, they're and it's amazing what Philadelphia's done. They just got another really good player through a trade. So, you got to give him another year. But I can sense the frustration. I understand the frustration that you've had. I understand because I don't pay attention that much to the Titans. I understand that I got to now with being on the show, but. You've got to have people in the front office and at the GM position that know what they're doing drafting people. And you can't make mistakes because you only got 53 guys on a roster. And when you make a huge mistake, especially as a quarterback at the quarterback position, that can set you back 5-6 years.
Do y'all think the Titans are still reeling from the A.J. Brown trade?
Absolutely.
That just started it all?
Oh, it didn't start it all. But at midfield, it was a turd in the punch bowl that the stench won't go away, and it's not going to go away anytime soon. Look, their problems are twofold. Number one, they haven't drafted for squat for a long time. A long time. I mean, they don't have that many contributors out of their last 4 or 5 years of drafts. And then you say, okay, well, then let's get into the trade market. Well, you give away a guy that ESPN did a feature on yesterday. Is he the best receiver in the NFL? And then you tell everybody that Treylon Burks is going to be the replacement. And I know it's early, but at the moment, Traylon Burks is a bust.
Yep.
He can't get himself on the field, and that's not his fault, but it's just the facts of trying to compare A.J. Brown, who just torches the league, with Traylon Burks, who has about 20 career catches. I'm sorry, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I
That's
agree,
where
I
they
agree with you,
are.
George. Yeah, I totally agree with you, George. That's why when you're an owner of a professional organization, the people in your front office, they better know what they're doing, and they better understand what talent is, and they better know how to draft, because if they don't, you're in a cesspool.
When you miss on as many draft picks as they have missed on, this was bound to start happening.
Yep. It
And
catches up with you. There's no question.
But is it? I mean, is it as fix? It is. Is it as easy to fix it? Just say, all right, let's go draft better. You know, I mean, like,
No.
and that's going to take a while. Like,
it is going to take a
This is
while.
going to be a long rebuild.
Remember when I kept talking to Terry about the goal ought to be to get really good by the time you open the new stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
this
that's
isn't going to be a snap your finger deal. I mean,
that's what it feels like. They're starting. They're kind of slowly. You know, they know it's probably going to be slow, and they're not tanking. Anybody says they're tanking?
no, the players are not tanking.
I don't agree with that.
The players are going to play hard.
Right. But so I think they want to stay respectable, but they're also looking to the future saying, listen, you know, we need to change some things.
Now, here's the other thing that's about to play out. Okay, they have played very coy about Will Levis, but there is something clearly that they're not comfortable with about him. Okay, when the Steelers bombed out with Mitch Trubisky, they just said, it's Kenny Pickett time. Well, now you've got an injury to Ryan Tannehill. Nobody thinks he's going to play on Sunday, and they continue to hedge the bet about Malik Willis. What is it they know that so far we don't know?
Because what you're saying is it's not as simple as the injury they've been saying for Levis.
No, I mean, it's time to throw him out there.
No, I know. I'm just saying, you know,
Absolutely.
You're saying it's deeper.
Well, I'm saying that I think there is some concern they have about him that they're not telling us. Is it that he's not accurate enough? Is it that he hadn't learned this? I don't know what it is, but there's some hang up, Kelly, that they're not telling us.
It seems that way, George. It really does. Whether he's still injured, I got to go back to what Watson said. He didn't play much in the preseason. He got hurt during the preseason, so they wanted to see more. But at some point, they've got to throw him out there. I mean, they moved up in the second round to get him. I don't think they thought that he was going to fall that far. And when they found out that he fell that far, they got on that phone and said, "Hey, we'll give you this. We'll give you this. We're going to trade up to try to get the guy that we think." And I'm just not sure, George. I don't know. Maybe he's still injured a little bit, and we really don't know. I don't know. I know that he struggled with that all last year at Kentucky. Tim told me that. Tim told me he was battling through some stuff, Tim Couch, that people didn't really know.
Issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And that stuff lingers, man. That stuff lingers. So I don't know if they're afraid to put him out there like they did Malik Willis last year and ruin his confidence because they feel like they're just not good enough up front to help him. And that could be it. I don't know.
It well could be. But here's the thing. Starting on Sunday, they're going to have to open the curtain and show us whatever it is, either that or Ryan Tannehill is going to have the most miraculous, medical comeback that we've seen in a while.
And I don't rule that out. I mean, Tannehill, Tannehill's a guy that will play.
He's
He's tough, but I don't think you can play on a scooter.
No, and maybe it's not this week, but it might be sooner than we think with Tannehill.
And I'll say this, they don't want me playing.
No,
the way
Vrabel,
Vrabel said, what did he say? He said roller or walker,
or whatever it is. Yeah, I love that because he's like me. He doesn't know the name of it. Whatever the medical term is for one of those scooter.
It's a scooter.
It's a scooter.
That's a lot better than roller.
Okay.
Walker.
Now, we're going to go to the break. We're going to try to gloss over San Francisco's little meltdown last night and move on to happier times. Plaster Bet of the Day is coming up next.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Final segment on a Tuesday. We got Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Shall we check what happened last night?
No, I was told the game got rained out.
No. They were inside. They were inside.
Oh, well, now that is a problem.
That's a problem, George.
God.
Dumpster fire.
I mean, Kirk Cousins looked really good last night, man. I can't stand all the people. Of course, I'm loyal to quarterbacks, fellas. So you understand. I know how hard it is to play, and everybody's always hating on Kirk Cousins. And I like the dude. I think the dude can play football. Last night, he showed it.
He was really good. He was as good as I've ever seen him last night.
Absolutely he was.
And he also got a help from his offensive line that they couldn't have seen coming. Now, Billy, if you had told me before the game, Minnesota will run the football very well tonight, And oh, by the way, their offensive line will give up 0 sacks.
0.
Okay, number one, I wouldn't have believed it. And number two, if you know that, you kind of might say to yourself, ooh, wait a minute. I mean, all the data, pointed to the 49ers, but there were things that happened. And this is the beauty of sports, is this stuff is not played on paper. It is played on a field.
Mm-hmm.
On paper, the Vikings have no chance to run the football. On the field, they ran it really well. On paper, no quarterback sacks. I mean, there were some real surprises last night.
That's a loss on paper.
Yeah, and it is on this piece of paper here. The thing that you do wonder about is,
I'm starting to worry about Brock Purdy.
Yeah, a little bit, because he's now being forced into positions that he's not comfortable with.
Yeah, and defenses are starting to figure him out a little bit.
They are a little bit. He likes to throw that deep in route over people, and people are going to start backing those linebackers up and making it even harder to throw. And he's going to have to learn as a young guy. You might not have that. Just check it down. I mean, he throws the ball. His timing is impeccable now. He throws the ball. That one that he threw to Jawan Jennings over the middle, Jawan Jennings hadn't even turned around and the ball was in the air. So when you do that sometimes, and if a receiver kind of stumbles coming out of his break, you're going to have things like that happen.
You got problems.
I think the guy can play, and I'm not worried about him whatsoever.
And Kelly, you're cutting in and out a little bit.
We got you.
Last night, I felt like was a little bit of a case of Kirk Cousins, veteran quarterback, against a younger quarterback. Cousins took care of the ball. He played well. He didn't just take care of the ball. I mean, they were at home.
To Kelly's points, number one, his film study going into that game was impeccable. There's a play late in the game where he play fakes one way and has to roll, and there's a defender right in his face about to plaster him, and he knew where to go.
Cousins is so smart.
He knew where to go, and I'm like, that's film study.
Yep.
That's being in the league. That's being in the league for a long time and being 35 years old.
You're right.
Yeah, his level of study. I don't know if y'all saw any of the quarterback series.
I never did, but I heard he was great.
I mean, it's like a Harvard student studying for an exam. The way he prepares for an NFL defense, it's crazy.
So we ignore the obvious, which is I got belted last night. That was not one to be proud of, and so we move on and live to play another day.
Philly.
Here's what we got.
Philly. Oh, no, he's still not doing it.
No, I'm not. There's something weird going on. I'm staying away. The number on Philly tonight, by the way, is almost 2-1. So let me go bottom first.
The Aggies.
Diego Pavia is a really darn good quarterback. There's something, there is something going on. Jerry Kill has done a really nice job at New Mexico State. They're just better than La Tech. Preds starting to play kind of nice.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ranger win was one nobody could have seen coming on the road. And then Saturday night, they dominated a really bad San Jose team. Now they get Vancouver at about 8:15 tonight at home. This is their chance to get above 500 with a young team. And given how hard their schedule was in the first 5, if after 7 games they're over 500, I'm ready to play ball. I like what I'm seeing.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Kelly, 2-0.
Looking good.
I'm out.
Good luck.
I got to go.
Do good.
I'm tired of dealing with y'all. I'm ready to get off here. I got to go do something else.
Well, let me say this. We are equally as tired of you. See you tomorrow.
See you, fellas.
See all of you tomorrow.